Hi, I'm Kimberly, and these are the horoscopes for September 2021. I'm going to start with an overview first. We're going to talk about the main action of September, and then I'll go into each sign. Okay, so here is the beginning of the month, and all right, so here is the beginning of the month, and you can see that the planets are pretty spread out here. Last month, we had a good balance of elements. It was Leo season, and we had a couple of planets in Leo, some earth, some air, and a little bit of water. So this month, we are losing the fire. So we have about one, two, three, four planets in air, and one, two, three planets in earth. We have Neptune and water, and no fire. So that's how the beginning of this month starts. We are officially in Virgo season. Sun is in Virgo here. That happened August 22nd, 23rd. And so definitely have an emphasis on Virgo Earth, which is mutable Earth here. So time to be adaptable and changeable. And the first thing that happens this month is the new moon on the 6th, September 6th. So that's going to be a new moon in Virgo. Okay, so the first big thing for September is the new moon. It's in Virgo at 14 degrees. It's really close to Mars at 24 degrees. So not technically conjunct, but it's a nice trine to Pluto. And then this new moon here, we have a nice trine to Uranus. So this is really helpful for this month because I mentioned already, we got a lot of air, Aquarius and Libra, and that's going to increase during the month. So we're going to feel a little more scattered as the month goes on. So right now, this is a great time for a new start, a new like practical routine here. As detailed as you can be, because that's what Virgo likes, details and some boundaries. You're going to really need this for the month because it's going to get a little scattered, maybe a little uninspired later in the month. So use the Virgo energy for this next month. So for the next 4 weeks, trying to start and stick to a new habit or a new behavior. So now we're going to go on to September 7th. So that is where it's not a definite aspect. What I'm marking September 7th as Mercury slowing down. So for September, we got Mercury in Libra for the entire month. So it's slowing down. It's going to go retrograde at the end of the month, and it will be in Libra into October as well. So as we head into Libra season, we're also going to have a retrograde, heading into a Mercury retrograde in Libra. This is a key thing here. On September 7th, it's starting to slow down. It's in its shadow. It's getting ready to go backwards. So this is a good time to start reviewing things that you might want to revise or reevaluate. You're really going to have to think about it when Mercury is retrograde, but now is the time you're going to start to feel that awareness that something is going to have to be edited a little bit. So the next thing is September 10th, Venus and Scorpio. So we could see it's right at the end. We're at the beginning. We're at the 6th right now. And on the 10th, it's going to go into Scorpio. And so we get a little bit more water. Right now, we only have Neptune and Pisces, and then we get Venus going into Scorpio. So that helps balance out these elements, although we're still zero fire. So that will add a little bit of water, a little bit of a little bit more depth of feeling because Scorpio is deep water. So moving on to September 12th to the 13th. So let me bring up the chart for that. All right. So this is one of the more challenging times of the month, the 12th and the 13th. So that's where we have a sun opposite Neptune, which in and of itself is not that major, but what's going on is right here. Moon is coming into a T-square. And you can see right here, it's also right next to the node as it starts its T-square. So the moon, any of these faster moving planetary bodies are going to be a trigger. So look for that day for maybe something that might occur, like there might actually be an event. It may not be a huge event, but there may be some challenge here. All of this Virgo is still trine Pluto, so it definitely can be worked with. It's not going to be a huge obstacle. You can work with this. So Neptune means there's always something a little bit unclear. So maybe there's some kind of artistic pursuit that you're looking at that's not totally clear, maybe a little murky. So this right here is going to, Moon in Sagittarius is going to point that out for you. So it joins the south node, and then it will get, the next day, it will hit that 20, 21 degrees. So the 12th and 13th are the days to look at. Now, let's go on to September 14th. So you can see right here in a couple of days, Mars is about to go into Libra. So that's another pivotal point here too, because Venus just left, Mars is coming in, Sun is not that far behind. So we're going to have Mars, Mercury, we have 2 more in Libra, trining this Aquarius, these 2 planets in Aquarius, Jupiter and Saturn. So the trick about this is Mars and Libra, not totally thrilled. Mars is not totally thrilled with Libra. Mars is going to be forced to really see the other side of things. So you'll feel really energized when Mars goes into Libra, energized as far as working out those little kinks in the relationship. You're going to really feel like you can make some movement. However, we have Mercury slowing down. So it's really a time to think about these things, not really to act too strongly on it yet. So it's going to start being apparent what needs to be reevaluated. So I'm not going over every single aspect this month. I'm just hitting the main things that I think are the most important. So we're about halfway through the month. We're going to go on to the full moon. All right, so September 20th is the full moon. We got 28 Pisces here. So now you can see Mars is in Libra, Venus is firmly in Scorpio, and Moon is really close to Neptune here. So your artistic pursuits here hopefully will have some kind of manifestation, like some little part of a project you're doing will be visible here. We got the full moon. So full moon shining light on the moon and Neptune. So any artistic pursuits being highlighted, being shined upon here. So now we're going to talk about Sun going into Libra. So right here on the 20th, just a couple of days before the Sun goes into Libra. So once it joins here, we're going to have 3 planets in Libra. And you can see here, Mercury is really at the end of Libra. So it's really close. It's about to retrograde. So the Sun's going to go in here. You're going to feel really energized. Mercury's slowing down, saying, hey, you got to think about this. Don't take too much action right now. Libra is definitely going to be weighing both sides, balancing things out. So that lowers our amount of Earth energy. So the sun leaves Earth, leaves Virgo. We have only Pluto and Uranus, only the outer planets, 2 Earth signs. So we got even more emphasis. Remember I said later in the month we'd have a lot of air. So we have 3 in air, 2 in air. At least they're trining each other. That's helpful. So let's move on to the most challenging part of the month. Okay, so the 23rd to the 25th looks the most challenging to me. So this is on the 23rd. You can see Venus here, halfway in that concentrated point, halfway point of a fixed sign opposite Uranus. And what's happening here is this midpoint between Jupiter and Saturn. So if we take the midpoint, which is 23 plus 7, and that's 30 degrees, and we divide it by half, 15 degrees is the midpoint. So this opposition is exactly in a T-square to this midpoint. So it is challenging. Jupiter and Saturn together, their midpoint is going to describe much needed perseverance and patience for success. So Saturn, patience, success, Jupiter. So coming together, they really work well together to create success, but there's definitely work involved. So this is squaring. So this tells me something unusual, maybe some activity, some indulgence can get in the way of the success that you're working on, or whatever it is, success for that week, getting a project done, meeting a deadline, anything like that. So it's fixed signs. So it's definitely a very noticeable kind of set in its ways kind of challenge. This is what I wanted to point out here. So Mercury, this is what gives you a little bit of help. And I say a little bit because Mercury is about to go retrograde. It is trining Jupiter. So that does give you some help here. But it's tentative, it's holding back. It's not right out there. It's going to be a little bit more passive. It's not a real active support system right there. And notice, so the 23rd is the start of it, and then the moon comes to conjunct Uranus. So that adds to the trigger. That adds to this T-square right here. So it's challenging, but there is a way for it to work out, right? It takes patience. So we're just about at the end of the month. So September 27th, I'm not going to bring up a chart. It's just in a few days. It's Mercury going retrograde. So it's going to be at 26 degrees. It's going to go all the way back to 10 degrees Libra. And then again, it'll station direct. And in October, it will come back through most of Libra. So that's the big day. Couple of days on either side of that Mercury retrograde. So the 25th to the 30th, I would not suggest any major decisions here. Okay, so the last thing I want to bring up is another T-square. All right, so this last thing I want to bring up is another T-square involving the moon. And because it involves a Mercury retrograde, so the moon comes along, it's opposite Pluto, and these two are squaring each other. So Mercury is, you can see the red here, that means it's retrograde. So the couple of days before and after that retrograde are the trickiest. Mercury the trickster is tricky around these days. So this square here being triggered by moon here. So not as difficult as some of the others that I mentioned. It's because of stationing, it's still technically within range of a trine here, although Jupiter is still retrograde, just like most of the outer planets. So just be aware of that last T-square here. That's a cardinal T-square. So things could change quickly. This challenge could just be kind of sudden and have to turn around pretty quickly. Okay, so that's the overview for September. I also created this little list right here. So the highlights, here are the dates. Do you want to look at that? Here's that one of those squares. Mars in Libra, full moon, Libra season. Here are the most challenging days. Mercury retrograde, and then that last T-square. Let's do Gemini, the first of the mutable signs. I'm going to have Gemini on the ascendant. If your sun in Gemini, just imagine your sun over here. And all the signs that I talk about are in relation to your Gemini sun. So it's set up for, the houses are set up for Gemini rising, but it's still going to be the same for Gemini sun. So we go over here. So the beginning of the month is the new moon on the 6th. So that's like the first main event. Hopefully you listened to, watched my overview first. I did the highlights for the month, and now I'm going to talk about the highlights relative to the mutable signs. Okay, so the new moon's going to be at 14 Virgo, which creates a square aspect to Gemini. So that's a harder aspect. So there's a little bit more work to do here for Gemini, or the mutable signs. Although this earth energy is really needed for this month. We're in Virgo season, and you want to hold on to this Virgo energy because there's a lot of air, and there will continue to be a lot of air. So, and a good antidote, a way to deal with air is to work with your earth, like practical, realistic matters to help you ground. So, so that's the first highlight. The next thing we're going to talk about is Venus and Scorpio. So it just enters. Venus is the planet of fun and some good luck, maybe some little gifts. It's a little more extreme in Scorpio. It really wants to have a really deeply good time. So for Gemini, it's highlighting more of a hidden area for you. Your work routines and health routines, how they affect each other. Notice how it is opposite Uranus, and that's going to come into play later on in the month. The other thing that's happening right now is Mercury is getting slow. It's in its shadow period. It's going to retrograde when it gets to the end of Libra. So Libra is an emphasis for everyone. For you, Gemini, in the 5th house of your social life, where you like to have fun. You can think of that as also children, because children are always fun, whether they're your children or someone else's children. So the thing about the Libra energy is that it's going to be easy to work with Gemini, because that's air. So they really work together well. That's going to be easier for the air signs. All right, so we have our first T-square. It starts with Sun opposite Neptune, with the moon creating a T-square, right? So here is the cross of the T. So that just means moon is going to force you to work with something here, because it's creating the T-square. So relative to your family or home life, in relation to maybe your dreams and aspirations right now, because Neptune is in the career area, the public image. So this tug of war here between family, career path, long-term views, how you see your career, your public image is a little bit challenged here by other people, because this is opposite Gemini. So anything in Sag here is other people. And then we go on. Mars enters Libra. So we had Venus going to Scorpio. Now we have Mars going to Libra. Then we're going to have Sun going to Libra. So there's your Libra energy is starting to build up. Mars is going to add some energy. It's going to make you really want to act. But Mercury is slow. It's going to affect all the Libra planets. So you really have to be careful and think things through. Don't jump the gun. When the Sun gets here, you're going to have more energy. It's going to be a little easier to work with, but you still got to use that Virgo energy, that new moon that we talked about. You need that earth energy to stay on track. So then we get to the full moon. That is, okay, so it's a little bit past here. So the new full moon is going to be 28 Pisces, close to Neptune, opposite the Sun. So it happens on the 20th, just a few hours later in this chart. Okay, so that full moon is your chance to work on your dreams, aspirations, through sleep even, dreams in your sleep. Use that Pisces energy to be more inspired with your career path. So that's your Virgo Pisces axis being triggered. Definitely more likely to see something happen there for mutable signs with that full moon, the new moon and full moons. And then a couple of days later, we get the Sun into Libra. There we are, more energy, more light. Mercury is just about to go retrograde, so slow down. Don't let Mars get crazy. Relationships, especially for you, Gemini, your friendships, relationships, probably have a good time here, but still just check your details on any party invites. You might, or maybe parties might get delayed or canceled, but still possible to have some fun here. We get to the next T-square. That's with Venus, right? Yes. So Venus now halfway through Scorpio. When it gets to 1415, it's opposite Uranus. Moon comes along to activate it. And all that opposition here is in a T-square to the midpoint between Jupiter and Saturn. So this is a point of long-term success. So perseverance, determination, working patiently to achieve something. It's a little bit at risk here because of this distraction here. So this is a little bit, this fixed energy, because Taurus and Scorpio are fixed, is a little bit hidden here. So it may not be obvious what's happening here. Mentally, emotionally, don't indulge too much here. And Venus can be overindulgent, especially in Scorpio. So stick to your routines here. Don't change your routine. Stick to that practical Earth Virgo energy. And then officially, Mercury is retrograde. So quite a few days it's going to hang out here, 24, 25 degrees. While it's there, it is squaring Pluto. Now that becomes important in a couple of days because the moon comes along. The moon comes along to oppose and square. So that is going to affect. So this is a little bit of resources, your finances, your budget, and other people's. This is other people's budgets and money. So there's just a little bit of challenge here with Mercury. So that's where in the financial region, you need to, and the social area, social life, Dot your I's and cross your T's. Be careful on the next step. So that's for Gemini. Oh, sorry, whoops. Yeah, that's right. That's it for Gemini. We're going to move on to Sagittarius. Here is the new moon. So this is the first big event. New moon, Virgo, close to Mars, in a nice trine to Pluto, Uranus. That helps you get a little work done, even though those are outer planets. This new moon is practical. You need this earth energy to carry on for the month. This is for you, Sagittarius. So these new moons and full moons this month are more important for the mutable signs, because that's what Virgo and Pisces are. So that's relative to your long-term career goals here. This new moon here, new outlook, new beginning, maybe a new step. And hold on to that practical idea that you get here. Hold on to it. Use that practical energy for the month. And Sagittarius, now you will need to, we get a little bit more water energy when Venus goes into Scorpio. This enters Scorpio, which is the sign behind Sagittarius. So even if your sun in Sagittarius, the Scorpio energy is more hidden, especially for you. It's going to describe your psyche and some emotional, mental coping mechanisms, those instinctive habits or reactions that we have. So Venus here makes it makes it a little nicer, actually. Venus does bring an easy time, but it will oppose Uranus coming up. So now the other thing is Mercury is highlighting Libra. We are not quite in Libra's season, but we had Venus and Mercury for a while in Libra. So we have a strong Libra air emphasis, especially because it's trining these air signs here, Aquarius. So Mercury is slowing down. It's about to go retrograde. Mercury is going to stay here for the entire month and into October. Now, here is the first opposition here with a T-square. Sun opposite Neptune. Moon in Sagittarius. So it's definitely going to highlight Sagittarius. So you're going to experience maybe some challenge to what's going on with your home situation and your career goals. So whatever new step or outlook you have, you need to take into consideration what you're inspired to do for your family or with your family and your home life. Now for Mars into Libra. So here we got more Libra. Soon we're going to have Sun coming into here. Mars is going to activate you, give you a little more energy in relation to your friendships and your alliances, your hopes and dreams. So Libra energy is pretty easy for Sagittarius to work with. They are air and fire. They work pretty well together. Let's move on to the full moon. So this, if you haven't been able to tell yet, this is the area that's highlighted for Sagittarius. These signs that are behind the sign Sagittarius. So sun, whoops, sorry. Moon is in Pisces. At 28 is when it's full. It's joined here with Neptune. It's a chance to use the positive side of Neptune. So a lot of light shining on Pisces. That means a little more sleep, a little bit more dreaming of that future family or how you want your family life to be. Just got to balance that out with the career path. So that's the back and forth for Sagittarius this month. And then we officially go into Libra season. The sun is in Libra. So this adds a little bit more energy. You'll really feel like working on those relationships, those friendships and alliances, that cooperative spirit here. It's going to be helpful because it got that trine to Aquarius. But the Mercury is about to go retrograde. It definitely needs to have you slow down. Really think and use your Virgo new moon energy to help you make or to take those next steps. So check each step before you take it. Don't let Mars get out of hand and make you jump before you're really ready and set and you understand all the consequences. Then we get our second T square, and that is the Venus opposite Uranus with the moon triggering it, and exactly square, T square, the midpoint, the halfway point between Jupiter and Saturn. So this is kind of like a distraction. Don't let your knee-jerk reactions or your habits, whether they're good or bad, distract you from whatever goal that you're working on. Whatever thing that you need patience and perseverance to work on, stay focused on that. Don't be distracted. Mercury goes officially retrograde on the 27th. So it hangs out here for quite a few days. And while it's doing that, it is square to Pluto. Okay. So in and of itself, not that big a deal, but in a couple of days, the moon comes around while the square is happening and opposes Pluto. Then several days later, it will conjunct Mercury. So got time to work with this. So this is that resources, yours and other people's, how it's going to affect your alliances and your supporters. Maybe you won't have as much financial support from someone coming up in September, maybe even into October. So that's a little bit of a challenge. And that brings us to the end of the month for Sagittarius. Okay, here is Virgo. So this is the third sign of the mutable signs. And of course, the new moon is in Virgo this month. So this new moon is definitely highlighting you Virgo sun or Virgo rising. It's a chance for a really, like, this is one of your best new moons for a new start, a new presentation of yourself, something new with your body, appearance. So Mars is here, giving it a little bit more energy, a little more activating. And we need this, we and you, Virgo, although you're naturally like this, you're going to love this new moon and hold on to that feeling through the months because we have less and less earth as the month goes on. We get a lot of air. So we need that earth to stop us from getting too scattered with all the air. So we're going to move on to the next highlight. Venus goes into Scorpio right here. So that's going to have a nice effect on the third house here. Your local commute, maybe it won't be so bad. Any issues with siblings could be a little bit easier. Your communication with people, a little bit easier. And Mercury is slowing down right here. So everything is affected by this Mercury in Libra that's going slow, about to retrograde. So this is where obstacles and delays come in because of that slow Mercury. You're going to start thinking now about your personal finances, Virgo. Your finances, your budget, your resources. So that will be, this Libra energy will be strong the entire month and into October because we're going to have more planets in Libra. And we're going to get to the first T square here. Sun opposite Neptune with Moon in a T-square. So it only lasts a few days, but this is a challenge here between you and other people. So whatever new beginning you have here, stick to the practical concerns. Don't get too carried away here. You might check with some family members. They may be helpful here. That could be a challenge too. It's going to involve the family life or home life, and how you are relating to others. Mars is about to leave Virgo, so the energy is going to shift away from the practical Earth into Libra, and so we get there. So just a couple of days later, Mars fully into Libra. So giving you more energy to cope with finances and resources. Careful not to jump the gun though, because Mars likes to be preemptive or premature. Mercury is saying slow down, hold on, wait. Definitely use that cooperative spirit here. Then we get to the full moon. Okay, and it's going to be at 28 because it'll be opposite here. So in a few hours from this chart right here, the full moon is at 28, right near Neptune, which encourages you now to use your opposite energy, Virgo. You're so good at being busy and setting boundaries. So now it's time to get a little bit more sleep and to let yourself dream a little bit more and let the boundaries get a little bit more fuzzy, and use that to help improve your relating skills to other people, your relationships, especially because we have this Libra energy. And then we're going to get to the second T-square of the month, Venus opposite Uranus, with Moon coming up to conjunct. And all of it is T-squaring this, involved with this midpoint of Jupiter and Saturn. So this is a really helpful midpoint. Describes success through patience and perseverance. And so it's very productive. This is a distraction here. So whatever dalliance you have, or indulgence related to your routine, your local routine of commuting to work or around the neighborhood versus your vision of travel and higher learning, those sorts of things. This adventurer side here, and this is more local routine side here. Don't let that distract you. You need a solid, like Jupiter and Saturn being here in the 6th house is very helpful for your work and health routines. So this is just a distraction. Then we move on to the actual day of Mercury retrograde. So it's red here. That means it's retrograde. It hangs out here for quite a few days. While it's doing that, it squares Pluto. So while that's happening, Moon comes around and gives a direct opposition to Pluto, squaring Mercury. So this is our last T-square of the month. The main ones, not all the aspects I'm talking about. I'm just picked out the highlights, the main ones. So for you, Virgo, definitely keep an eye on your personal resources and finances, and don't let your friends or your alliances or supporters hinder what you got going on for your finances. That brings us to the end of the month for Virgo. Okay, let's do Pisces. Here's Pisces rising. Imagine your sun here in Pisces, if that's what you have. And this is set up for the new moon. So new moon at 14 Virgo. This is opposite Pisces. So this is clearly like a new step, new beginning or outlook regarding other people. So how you relate, Pisces, how you relate to other people. It has a good amount of energy because Mars is here, and you have help, with some help in Pluto and Uranus because they're both in Earth signs. They're creating a trine to this new moon and Mars. Hold on to that Earth energy, Pisces. You really need some boundaries sometimes, some practical routines. Everyone's going to need it for this month. Now, if we go forward a few days, get to Venus going into Scorpio. So this is highlighting your adventure and exploration area of foreign people, travel, higher learning, things that are foreign, that are new and exciting. And Venus brings a little bit of gifts or helpful women, because Venus also rules women. So a little bit of some nice things in regards to this ninth house position. What's also happening is Mercury is slowing down. It's halfway through, but it has already started its shadow. It's already slow. It's about to turn retrograde at the end of Libra. And it's going to affect all the Libra planets. Soon Mars and Sun will be in Libra. So it's getting ready. It's getting you to think about how you cope with other people's resources, how you get money from other people, or how their money affects you. That's what this Libra energy is. We get to the first T-square of the month, and that is where the Sun is opposite Neptune. So at the end of Virgo, it opposes Neptune, and while Moon is squaring both of them. So this is just going to last for a few days, but this is going to create some kind of adjustment you have to make, and it might have to do with your image or your career path, kind of a long-term view of your public standing in society. Then we're going to get to Mars and Libra. So here, Libra season hasn't started yet, but we're going to get a strong emphasis of Libra because Mars is there now. And so it's getting energy, even though it may be a little frustrated in Libra because now Mars is forced to cooperate. It's not its strong suit at all. So it's going to want to jump the gun. So, and this is all relating to other people's money, their other people's resources, how you relate to that. And Mercury is slow and going retrograde, and it's going to affect that. So even though you want to jump ahead and really get going, Mercury is going to say, hold on, wait, slow down, check each step before you take it. So, and that is good advice right now. So the full moon is on the 20th. It's in Pisces. So here we got this going on again, you and other people, how you relate to other people. So the full moon in Pisces, it's time to use your superpowers, Pisces. Your ability to dream and create things and connect to a higher force, a higher spiritual force, especially with Neptune here. Use these superpowers to feel inspired on how you can keep that new moon energy going. So how do you relate to other people and this new outlook or this new beginning from the new moon? Use the dream sleep to keep you inspired and how to stay connected to other people, particularly in a more grounded way. So You got to work this earth and water energy together. We get to official Libra season, the 22nd. So here we got all these planets in Libra. Mercury is here to stay until sometime in October. So more energy, more light. There we go. So here is all the energy relating to other people's money. So that's a big theme for you this month, Pisces. Are you getting enough money? Are you getting paid enough? Or are people using their money to affect you, good for good or bad? So now for the next, darn it. We're going to go over the next T-square. That's Venus opposite Uranus. Moon is conjuncting, so that's another trigger. So it's going to last a few days. And why I picked this is because it's exactly T-square, the midpoint between Jupiter and Saturn. This is a really helpful, successful midpoint. It is restriction matched with, balanced out with growth. So success through perseverance and patience. So don't let yourself be distracted here by these big visions of good times, maybe with foreigners or foreign travel. You want to have a good time here. You can let yourself indulge, but keep it to a minimum. It's going to be hard with these fixed signs here, but you have to think of the big picture here. This is more important. Success for you, Pisces, it's going to be more success in your mental and emotional stability here. So that's what's important. And Mercury officially goes retrograde on the 27th. So this red means it's retrograde. It's going to be there for quite a few days. So this is the other people's resources, taxes, inheritances, that kind of thing. So now it's retrograde, time to reevaluate, really think about how you want to proceed with your relationship to others' resources. Libra is a cooperative energy here, so there definitely has to be cooperation involved. And while it's stationed, while Mercury is barely moving, it's going to square Pluto. And what we get also is a little trigger with the moon. It opposes Pluto and squares Mercury. So that's your third challenge of the month. This is in relation to your social life, your friends, your supporters. And as you can see how that ties into other people's money. So there's a challenge here. Doesn't mean you can't get through it. You got all this Libra energy trining, very cooperative with Aquarius energy. So can work with it. And that's it for Pisces. Have a good September. So I hope you enjoyed all these horoscopes for all the signs and my overview for the month of September. So I hope you will like the video down below and subscribe. This is a new channel and I plan to give horoscopes every month for now for all the signs, and plus other videos about how you can improve your health with your astrological chart, whether your health means better emotional health, mental, or physical. See you soon.